Hey everybody, welcome to the No Pants Required podcast. I'm your host, Jen Mann, and today I'm wearing pajama pants because they totally count as pants. Fight me. My guest for this episode is Karen Alpert. Karen is the best-selling author of Mama's Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be A-Holes, unfiltered advice on how to raise awesome kids. Karen is the ridiculously hairy, self-deprecating writer of the popular blog Baby Sideburns. You may have seen a few of her more viral posts like, "What not to effing buy my kids this holiday?" or "Caillou sucks so bad, here's another blog about why I hate him." She spent 15 years working for national advertising agencies until she was promoted to her newest favorite job, mommy. She lives with her two amazing kiddos and a very forgiving husband who is kind enough not to call her cousin it when she undresses for bed every night. I have a lot of fun with Karen Alpert of Baby Sideburns. I saw her a few years ago. Gosh, no, it's been more than that. Everything feels like it's like 2 years ago, but no, how many years ago did you go viral on Chicago?
It's close to 10 years, 9 years.
Yeah.
Like 8 or 9 years ago. Yeah, that's crazy.
We're so old. We're going to be like grandma.
Yes, we are.
Karen and I started out as mommy bloggers, and we're going to be like grandma bloggers one day.
Yep.
Thank you for coming on my show, Karen. I'm so excited to have you here today and to talk to you. I feel like we live far apart from each other, but I do feel like I always know what's going on with you because you're very active on social media. And I wanted to know, what I wanted to start with is I want to know, how did you get started? Like, where did Baby Sideburns come from?
Yeah. Thanks for having me, first of all. This is exciting. I love talking with friends on podcasts. It makes it easier. I started like every other mommy blogger starts. Like, I really didn't have any kind of motive or mission. I was a writer, and I was a copywriter in advertising, and I had a baby, and I just really tired of advertising. Like, it's like a rat race. Like, you're constantly producing work that never sees the light of day. There was a lot of male chauvinism in the industry, and I just didn't like it anymore. So when I had Zoe, I went back to work for about 3 months, and I was so done with it. I was like the person that showed up like at 9 a.m. and left at 5 p.m. And I was like, I got to get out of here. And so then I ended up starting a blog at the time because like every mom was starting a blog, like every single one. I think they said there were millions and millions of mommy blogs. And I'm like, I'm a writer. Like, I should have one of those. And I don't even think I'd ever read a blog before. I don't think maybe I had like come across one and like accidentally read it, but I don't think I even really knew what a blog was.
No. In fact, I thought bloggers were weird. Like, my sister-in-law had one back then. And when I would see her, like, we live in the same town, and I would see her all the time, and I'd be like, "Oh, what have you been up to?" And she's like, "It's all on my blog." And I was like, "Girl, I didn't read blogs." And I'm like, "So strangers just read about your life?" And she's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "And they're like invested? Like, they care?" She's like, "Yes." I'm like, "That's so weird."
Right? That's the weirdest.
And then a year later, I'm like, "How do I get one of those?"
And a lot of moms were just writing their daily, whatever they're going through, whatever they're doing. And that was fine. But I was a writer, and I really wanted to entertain. And I thought I had some like entertaining stories to tell. And Zoe was little at the time. We had just moved to the Chicago area, and she was in diapers. And I remember the first blog was just about taking her to the library, and I forgot the diaper bag in the car. And of course she, pooped her brains out in the library. And so it made for a funny story, and just basically told the story on my new blog. And it wasn't called Baby Sideburns at the time. It was called Mommyhood Unplugged. A terrible name.
I didn't even know that. I didn't realize that you had something before that. Oh.
I did. My apologies to whoever has their name Mommyhood Unplugged now. But
it's not terrible for you. It's just terrible for Karen.
It didn't work. It wasn't my fit. So I started it, and then I was like, just moms in my area just started reading it, like people that I met at the park, and they'd say, "Oh, I have this blog," and they'd read it.
So you would tell people, like, you'd go to the park and you tell people to read your blog?
I assume so. I didn't have like business cards or anything. I don't know. Like, or I'd probably post it on Facebook as my guess. I had a Facebook at the time, Facebook, yeah, and at the time, Facebook groups showed it to everyone. So it didn't have all those silly
Those were the
algorithms
days.
that
Those were the days.
block people. Those were the days. If people want to know how you start a blog, you start it back then.
You started in
when Facebook was
2011
really kind.
when Facebook showed everybody everything,
Yep.
and people used to say, "You're clogging my feed. I see you too much."
Yes. So I started the blog, and then I was writing like once a month, like very little. And I was writing very little. And so I signed up with Chicago Now, which was like a part of the Chicago Tribune. And I started writing a little bit more, like probably like once a week. And then I wrote a post in 2012, I think in November of 2012, I wrote a post called "What Not to Effing Buy My Kids This Holiday." And it was a letter to the grandparents. I was very nice. A lot of people got mad at me for being ungrateful. But
I think everybody just likes to fight with everything on the internet. They'll find a problem with anything you write.
Yes, that is so true. You and I know that well. So I wrote this blog. It was like a list of 10 funny things not to buy my kids this holiday, like from live pets to Legos that hurt your feet. It was funnier than what I'm saying right now, hopefully.
It was hilarious.
I remember I was watching it. Thank you. I was watching the numbers. I was watching Zoe in gymnastics class, and I had my laptop in my lap, and I was looking at the numbers, and I'm like, oh my gosh, a lot of people are reading this. So many that I thought it was a computer glitch. And I was just watching the numbers go up, and I'm like, something's wrong with the system. But then I started seeing there were actual comments to go with it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I think by the end of that gymnastics class, it had reached like 60,000 views or something. And I'm like, oh my, holy crap, that's like a whole stadium of people.
Right.
I had this like major adrenaline rush. And I found out.
Were you excited though, or were you scared? Were you excited or were you scared when that happened?
100% excited.
Okay, because I was like 100% scared. Like I was like puking. Because when you think, because you think about that, you think like it's like a whole stadium full of people. Like you're standing in front of a stadium, and like 99% of them are laughing at you, but 1% of them hate you. And all I could think about was. So that's so cool that you're excited.
I probably should have. I should have probably was pretty oblivious. I think also, as you write, you're a writer for like your whole life, and to have an audience finally was just such a great rush. Like I was like, oh my gosh, people are actually reading my work, and for decades I've been putting in time to writing, and all of a sudden I have this audience of people. So that was really cool. I found out that a blog called Moms Who Drink and Swear had shared the post, and that's why it ended up doing really well. So that was cool. That was the beginning of the blog. And actually, that was before I wrote that blog. I changed the name to Baby Sideburns. So that was a good thing, because Baby Sideburns was weirdly memorable.
Can you tell me why it's called Baby Sideburns? Was your baby born with sideburns?
He was not, but he was in my womb. And I was going to get that ultrasound, because I was advanced maternal age mom, so I had to get a lot of ultrasounds. And I remember thinking, I'm super hairy. I know this is a podcast, but I'm like, so people, and also I do a good job waxing and shaving and lasering and everything you can possibly do to get rid of it, because otherwise I'd look like a werewolf. And I was worried that I was going to have children that look like werewolves. When my daughter came out, she was surprisingly like my husband, who is light and didn't have the hairy problem. And I was worried that my son was going to come out with the hairy problem. So I said I was worried my baby was going to have sideburns. And I had a friend who was kind enough that day to say to me, you should change your blog name right now, and you should change it to Baby Sideburns. And I was like, that's great. And I went home and I changed it, and like never looked back.
And never looked back. And then, so I know that you stayed with Chicago Now for a little while after that, but then you finally went out on your own. And when did you do that?
Yeah, I stayed with them for a long time. It was fun to work with them. It was a big group of other bloggers. So like I had a community, and they were just very supportive. I don't know how long I was with them, probably a couple of years, I would guess. And then at some point I realized that I needed the URL babysideburns.com. I needed to shift everything there. And it's as fun as it is, and as fun as it is having an audience, being a blogger is and I'm sure you know this, it's a very solo job. Like you're really by yourself. And I don't like that. Like I loved working with Chicago now because I felt like I had people around me. Now I feel like I go down to my like office in the basement and I'm like just plugging away and there are no other coworkers. And my other people that I relate to are the people online, like the people on my Facebook page. And people always say, "Oh, you're so good at answering emails and you're good at talking to people in your community." I'm like, yeah, because if I don't talk to them, there's nobody.
Some of my favorite people live in the internet. Well, okay, so let's talk.
I have friends in real life, but
I was gonna say, so one of the things that I've been noticing, like as I get older, I know you're a little bit younger than me, but like as I'm getting older, I am having like a hard time. Like I like the solo part of doing this, and I like just being a hermit in my basement and not going out and meeting people. But then a few years ago, I realized that I kind of missed people, and I did. I hate working in an office. Like I would never go back to an office. Like I'll sell feet pictures on the internet first or something. But like, how do you find friends? You know, like even like earlier when you were saying like you would like walk up to moms at the playground and like ask them to read your blog, and I was like, oh my god, like you talk to moms at the playground? Like, what? Like people do that? So because I think I have this group of women that are all like middle aged, and that's like the number one question we keep asking ourselves. And we all have friends like on the internet, but not many of us have friends in real life. Like, where are you finding your friends, Karen? You're just like picking them up in the produce aisle.
I did a video about this with Elle Walker, who runs What's Up Mom.
Right.
And I actually went to LA and we did a whole video about you see the mom in the park and you're like, oh, we could be such good friends. And then you never actually meet. Like,
right.
You just like look at each other and it's just like going to a bar when you were younger and you know, you'd see the man across the room and you'd never actually talk to him.
Right.
But when we moved here, before we even got here, I joined Gymboree. Like I knew like I had to go out and find some people. And I've moved around a lot in life, so I know that if I don't put myself out there, that I'm not going to meet people. So I went to Gymboree. I met a couple of good friends there. And when we went to our town is very villagey, so like, we're like the village people. And you go to the playground and people actually they did talk to each other, and so I did meet people that way. And then just over time, I've just like through school and stuff like that. I feel like as the kids get older, it's much harder to meet new moms and new dads. Like it's just because you don't necessarily walk into the party anymore and hang out while your kid's there. You don't get out of the car anymore. You're just waiting for them in the cars. It gets tough. I meet people like right now, Holden's on a soccer team, so I talk with the parents on the sidelines. I do a tennis class once a week. Yeah, I know, Jen.
What? Look at you. Oh, no, I saw a picture of you and your husband. Wasn't it like a date afternoon or something? You guys went and played tennis together. I saw a picture online.
We did. We played tennis together. I haven't played tennis since like middle school. And some women were having a tennis class and they mentioned it to me and I'm like, I would like to join. I find that like I don't know what they call it, like an extrovert introvert or an introvert extrovert. Like I'm the kind of person that really loves sitting at home alone and being on the couch alone. But then I get this feeling that I should be out there socializing or something. So I have this terrible battle going on inside me that I'm not doing what's best for myself. Or that my husband's going to die one day and that I'm not going to have anyone to help me. I'm going to be all alone.
Like, there'll be no one.
Yeah, there'll be no one. So I don't know. The year that I met my husband, we were just talking about this last night. I called it the year of yes. And because I was saying no a lot to people, like no a lot to guys that asked me out, no a lot to just like everything in life. And it was in 2005. And I said, this is going to be my year of yes. And I got on JDate and I'm going to say yes to almost anybody that asks me out. And I'm going to say yes to adventures. And I did. Like I said, yes, I pretty much went out with a bazillion people on JDate. And I took a crazy survival trip to Belize because a friend asked me if I wanted to go. And I said yes. And then a guy on JDate reached out to me and actually said, my best friend lives in Boston and I think you would like him. I think he would like you. Would you like to go out with him? And it was my year of yes. So I said yes. And that was when I met my husband. I feel like I've tried to, not every year, but I've tried to apply that throughout life now. Like I try and say yes. And so like when these women said, do you want to do this tennis class? Yes. And like, it's awesome now. Like every week, 1 hour, just 1 hour of the week, I go play tennis with them. And actually somebody just texted this morning and said, do you want to play an hour again tomorrow? And I'm like, yes.
Maybe.
It's out of my comfort zone sometimes, but like I say yes. And I find that if I don't like it, then I can just go home and not do it again.
That's okay.
So.
All right. Like it's like our kids. You just have to try it once. And if you hate it, you don't have to do it again. Okay. So what I'm hearing is I have to talk to people. I have to do some sports things. There's also, I would say yes to lunch. If anybody was like, do you want to do lunch? I'd be like, yes.
That's perfect.
It's funny because I think I've lost track of the dates now that we've been in, this pandemic for 80 years, but I think it was like 2019, end of 2019, I decided I was going to say yes, because I am a big no, because the thing I find, I hear from people all the time that they never say no, that their plates are too full. And they're always like, they say yes to everything. And then they're like super duper busy and they're exhausted and worn out. And I was like, oh no, I say no to everything. And so then I thought, I'll say yes. And you're right. It definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone. I did things I would never do, but I also figured out there were things I like to do. Like now you figured out you like tennis. Are you going to keep, do, right? You're going to keep playing tennis?
Oh, I love it. I love it. We've been playing, I play tennis now. I play paddleball. I play
pickleball.
I'm playing like all the racket sports. Yeah, I do play pickleball.
My husband plays pickleball. He really enjoys pickleball. He's always looking for a partner who's as bad as him, though. So he goes to the rec center and like senior citizens beat him at pickleball.
They're good. They're really good. It's like they put in the hours, so they're very good at it.
Yeah, they have a lot of time.
I'm not very good either. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you were getting started with Baby Sideburns, like, had you decided, did you have a vision? I feel like, so I watch everybody on social media. I watch all my friends. I watch everybody who's in my genre and in my realm. And like, I'm super duper envious of you because I feel like you always have a plan. Like, I'm such a pantser. Like, I never know. Like, I wake up in the morning, especially when I was blogging 5 days a week, I would wake up in the morning and be like, shit, what am I going to write today? And I'd have to like figure it out. I felt like you always had a plan. Are you a planner?
No, I find that I'm really proud of myself right now for pulling the wool over your eyes. I am not. I'd say the only plan I ever had was two things. One, when I had that post go viral, I knew I needed to feed the beast. Right. And I like fed that Facebook page like you can't imagine. Then after that, the only plan I really had was, besides being honest with the world and showing the real truth behind parenting and just not BSing people, which was just who I am. So it came naturally to me. But besides that, the only plan I had was that I posted every day at 10 a.m. and like, I think 8 p.m. every single day on Facebook. I have definitely stopped doing that plan as much now. I'm pretty much only posting once a day right now, but that's it. I do have a Word document that I write my ideas down on. So like when I'm running out of ideas, hopefully there's some idea in there that's okay.
Yeah.
But there are days when I'm like freaking out because I don't know what I'm going to post.
So what do you do? Like when you need inspiration, what do you do to get that inspiration?
I don't know. Life just happens. There's always something interesting to write about. Unfortunately, these days there's a lot of bad stuff to write about.
Yeah, it's been tough to be funny these last few years. But because a few years ago I was interviewed by someone and he said, "Are you funny or do funny things happen to you?" And I think that's what you were just saying, is that if you wait long enough, something will happen and you can make it funny. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think everyone's life is interesting. Everyone, there's good fodder everywhere you look. It's just, as a writer, you can craft that into some words that helps your audience relate to you. And because most of the things that I write, I find the comment section to be very comforting, because most of the things that I write, everyone in the comment section says, me too, me too.
Do you read all your comments?
They're going through exactly the same thing.
Do you read all of your comments?
No, not all of them. There's no way. I read a lot. I try to respond to every Instagram message I get. I try. It's hard to read
Karen gets a
everything.
lot of comments. It's hard to keep up with all of that. The other thing,
Sometimes some posts don't get a lot. So.
Well, you just never know.
depends.
Like, it's hard to tell anymore what anybody's seen and and the comments, after a while, how many times can you say me too?
Yeah.
I used to comment all the time, and now I'm just like, I just give it the thumbs up and I move on, because I just don't have the energy anymore. I don't have the bandwidth to comment on anybody or anything.
Right.
I'm just too full of rage.
Right.
Okay, so the other thing I noticed is so when you started, your kids were little, like we all did. We all started with little kids. Your kids are aging. My kids are high school. How old are your kids?
Junior high and the end of fourth grade.
Okay.
Fourth grade and seventh grade.
So I would say so that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to say by like fifth grade, my oldest was like, don't write about me anymore. I don't want anyone to know anything about me. My younger one, she's a freshman in high school. She'd have a whole blog about her if I'd let her, but it's just not cute anymore. What? First of all, your kids are real active. I especially see your daughter a lot. I see Zoe a lot on there. And does she like that, or is it her idea? Is it your idea? How does that come up? Does she come up to you with ideas?
No, she doesn't really come up to me with ideas, but she doesn't mind it at all. She kind of likes the blog.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why I write about her more often. She's also very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
My son doesn't like it quite as much, so he's okay with it. He doesn't like it like Zoe likes it. They do, like right now, whenever I get a sponsored post, if they're in it, I pay them a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, so I feel like they deserve it, and it's a good way for them to learn how to earn money and how to save. And my son loves that. He really loves that. So he's constantly like, do you have anybody that wants to pay you right now?
I will eat all the yogurt.
Yeah. He will. Yeah, exactly.
Whatever you want me to do, Mom. You should just tell him.
Right.
No, you should be like, oh, Swiffer hired me, so I need you to just like mop the floors, and then I'll pay you like $3.
That's a great idea. That is, Jen, thank you. You gave me my next post. That's brilliant. This broccoli company just called.
There's so much. If I could do that, I didn't even know about that. I should have started that years ago. I pay them to just do chores, and now I should have just been like, no. Dawn called and they said you need to do the dishes.
Yeah.
And take pictures of them, and I'll be like, totally you're done. Here's your $2. Thanks, kids.
That's great. That's awesome.
So
but it is getting harder to write about them. I feel like I want to respect their privacy. I think when they were little, and some people would disagree with me about this, but when they were little, I thought it was cute and funny to put a picture of them like crying or throwing some tantrum or whatever, because every parent was dealing with that. And it didn't seem like it was really hurting them in any way. Now that they're older, like I would never, ever put a picture of them crying on the internet. There's a lot of things I wouldn't share anymore. So it's gotten a little harder. I think the other problem is my blog tends to show it's the bad stuff that's going on,
mm-hmm.
As opposed to showing all the rosy, wonderful stuff. Unfortunately, as they've gotten older, I've had to let a lot of the bad stuff stay private.
Yeah.
So I feel like I write a lot of the good stuff more now. And I actually feel a little guilty about that, because I don't want to add to that clutter of the internet of everything that's wonderful and, rainbows and unicorns and all that stuff.
Toxic positivity.
It's getting harder. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
That's the thing. I think that's the hard part, is like because you're right. Little kid, what is it like? Little kid, little problems, big kid, big problems. And especially once they hit those middle school years, I have so many good stories, but I can't. Maybe when they're 30 and they've been through therapy, like I could write that book at that point and talk about it then. But otherwise, yeah, I guess I could do that too.
I could see Zoe one day. I could see Zoe one day like writing and sharing a lot of stuff that I haven't shared.
Have you guys thought about writing a book together? That's like my fantasy, is to write a book with one of my kids, but both my kids won't do it. Neither one will do it. Would Zoe?
She's writing a book with a friend right now. So I feel like, yeah, it's nice. I mean, she probably would if I asked her to. Oh, we did start working on something a while ago, years ago, and then it never went anywhere.
We all have.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. Yeah, this is what I always like to tell, like when bloggers are like, "Oh, you write so much." I have 300 blog posts in my drafts that have never been finished, that were all just ideas that are just sitting there that maybe someday I'll be able to finish them and come back. Or that's just being a writer. Everybody's got a bunch of crap that they haven't gotten to yet that petered out.
That's my Word doc of all the ideas that I'm like, hopefully I can find something in there. It's literally 200 pages long.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've looked at the 175 of those pages for many years. So
it might be good. There might be something.
They're in the graveyard.
There might be something good in there.
They're probably about like diaper changing and stuff. I don't know.
Okay, so one of the questions. So before when I'm taking my guests onto the air, I have them fill out this form where I ask them what do you want to talk about, and it's always, because I'm a writer, a lot of my guests are writers and people who are kind of bloggers or whatever. And so the question is always like, what are you working on next? What are you working on now? What's coming next? And Karen's, I have to read it because it cracked me up, because she was like, I'm happy to talk about anything except what I'm doing next because I have no effing idea. So kidding, I'm happy to talk about the fact that I have no effing idea. I think you have an effing idea now, Karen. I think you should write the book with Zoe. That's the book.
Maybe.
So how many books do you have now? Do you have 3 books?
3 books.
Okay.
3.
And they're all about parenting. They're all funny parenting stuff.
Yeah. I'm working on a middle grade fiction book, but we'll see if it ends up going anywhere. I don't know. I'm always working on something. Like, you're a creative person. Like, creative people like are constantly working on projects and things, and you never know if they'll see the light of day. And people that read my blog know that I decorate cakes now. That's like a huge creative outlet too.
Thank you for reminding me
that
about
might go
that.
Somewhere.
Can we talk about that? Holy crap. Okay. I was going through Instagram one night, like just scrolling through, and I love to watch those videos where they do where they speed it up and they decorate a cake in 3 minutes or whatever. And you're just like, geez, Louise, that was amazing. And I'm looking at this cake, and I just thought it was one of those cake people, like the professional cake people that I watch. And then here you are behind your cake, smiling. And I'm like, I was like, you mean you bought that cake somewhere? Did you take a class? Is that one of your yes things? What? Why are you doing cakes?
No.
Crazy crafter.
You don't need to cake class. I know, right? That's what I feel like. I've turned into one of those people. No, you don't have to take a class. Like, there's 10,000 YouTube videos that like way more than 10,000 YouTube videos, like showing you how to do these things. And I always had a desire. And then it's before the pandemic. Was it during the pandemic? I can't remember.
I feel like it was right before, if not during.
If not during. It might have been during, because I feel like I've only been decorating cake. It's been a year now. Yeah. So it's been 1 year. So it was during the pandemic. Yeah, I just watched a ton of videos, and and I just taught myself, and I'm just like, it's fun. It takes a crap load of time.
I was gonna say,
it's Betty Crocker underneath, so don't get excited about what's inside. I love Betty Crocker to death, but I didn't hand do that cake. But it's funny. You talk about those 2-minute videos. Like, I actually edited one of those earlier today. It took me, I can't tell you how many hours to make this stupid cake. And then you have to condense it down into 2 or 3 minutes. And that is not easy. So don't let those videos fool you. It takes many hours to make.
That's interesting, because I think that's the internet in general. Like, we all see all this shit on the internet and we think, oh, it's so rosy. The toxic positivity. We're like, oh, they just made that cake. And you feel bad. It's interesting because you feel bad about yourself. Like, I watch those cake videos, and to me it's relaxing. Like, I watch them make those cakes, and when it's a stranger doing it, I'm like, oh, well, they're like somebody super special and amazing, and they've been doing this for 80 years, and that's why. And then I see Karen Alpert make a cake and do it, and I'm like, God damn it. Like, why can Karen do that and I can't? But then really, why can't I? You just told me there's 10,000 videos. I just have to go watch those instead of watching TikTok all day. Just go watch those, and maybe I could learn something. Right. But I do
That's
think
right.
like,
That's exactly right.
do you feel a responsibility? So you have a large social media platform, and do you feel a responsibility to use it as a, how am I trying to say this? I want to know if you use it to bring attention and awareness to things, but then do you feel that responsibility, or do you feel like a responsibility to keep quiet and just entertain people? I think we have to walk a really fine line with that, and I'm wondering how you walk that line. Does that make sense? Try to ask
No,
that
it
again.
totally does. No, it totally does. I feel a huge responsibility. I feel, and some things I'm willing to go out there and really push for, and some things I kind of tread lightly. So, like, for example, the last election, that was a tough one. It was really hard to know how to talk about that because I am very committed to the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
However, I also believe that there are a lot of people out there that aren't. And I do not want to alienate people. I do not want to make them feel bad. I don't want them to think that my page isn't a place for them if they have different beliefs. So I was a little more careful with that. Same with like vaccinations. Like, I am absolutely sharing the fact that me, Greg, and Zoe were all vaccinated, and I showed Zoe getting vaccinated. Like, I did videos of her getting vaccinated, and I will absolutely say that. But I will be very careful not to. I understand that there's a lot of misinformation out there, and there are a lot of people that have been misled, and I don't want to make those people feel. So yes, I'm careful about how I approach things. Like, some people are very, they voice exactly what they think, and that's okay. That's fine.
Hello.
But I know, yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. And I think me 10 or 15 years ago probably would have been like that. I just think that I've gotten to a point where I don't want to pick the fight. I don't want to be in a battle. I'm just too tired. I'm tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick of fighting with people. I want make love, not war.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that we're coming from different places, and I see like where I'm coming from is very different than where some other people are coming from.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
So I think because I think as a person who builds a brand on fighting with people, over the last year or two, I've been telling myself I don't have to attend every fight I'm invited to. I don't have the energy to go to every single fucking fight. I feel strongly about some things. I feel strongly about some things, and I'll talk about them, but the rest of it, like, there's a bunch of stuff I don't even want to fight with people about anymore. And I've just given up on that. And then I feel bad because then I'm like, oh shit, I should be talking about this. Like, it's important. You know?
You do? See, yeah. I feel a little better, like, not entering the fight. Like, I feel like I used to, like, I was involved in politics in our area, and mm-hmm. I just found like every time I stepped away, I wasn't feeling good. Mm-hmm. Like, I was my anger was boiling up, like my adrenaline was there. Like, I was walking away not feeling as good. So just for my own selfish self, I felt like I had to walk away from those fights, and yeah. I did, and I'm definitely a happier person because of it. But I will still share my feeling on issues. I'll just probably do it in a less combative way.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, so, I'm trying.
I don't know.
I'm trying to be the kinder, gentler Jen, but I don't know. But good for you, because I win people over by fighting with them. So you don't change minds that way. So you probably have the right approach.
Yeah, and I'm just not engaging with a lot of it. Like, last night I put up a post that had, see, Zoe's sitting in the front seat of the car now. It's brand new. She's 12 and a half. I know it's supposed to be 13, but we pushed it a little bit earlier. But she's tall enough, and we decided it was time. Mm-hmm. So she sat in the front seat, and I took a picture of her because she and Holden were holding hands. She was in the front seat, and he was in the back seat holding her hands. Oh. And it was right. It was so sweet. Like, because when Zoe first got in the car, it was the first time, and Holden was in the back seat, and I was like, oh, they're not sitting together anymore. And then Holden leaned forward, and they held hands like over the chair, and I'm like, that's just the sweetest thing.
You're like, hold on, mommy's got to get the right light.
I did. I absolutely took the picture, of course. And when I put the picture up last night, of course, there became a battle on the page because someone was like, "I put my kid in the front seat when he was 8 years old." Like, and then I'm like, "You just asked for a bazillion mean comments at you, so like, have fun with that."
Right.
But
welcome to the fight. We'll see ya.
Yes, I read a couple of them, and for the most part, I didn't even answer. I stayed out of it. I was just like, I'm just not gonna. Will I be happier if I engage with this? Absolutely. I just stayed out.
That's so good. Yeah, it's a form of self-care. It is to not engage, to walk away. And I think, again, it goes back to, we give this advice to our kids, we give this advice to our friends, but do we follow that advice? No. So don't do the things that don't make you happy. Don't do the things that drain your energy. At this point, I'm 49 now, and I just feel like I'm halfway through my life. Like, the fuck, I'm wasting any more energy on things that, that drain me like this. Like, no way at all.
Right.
Okay, I'm looking at my notes.
FYI, I'm the same age. I'm the same age as you, just so you know.
I've always thought you were younger than me, Karen. You're the same age.
I'm 48, almost 49. I'll be 49 in December.
Hey, girl, we're gonna be 50 this year.
Yeah,
Well,
so
I'll be 50 this year.
Oh, God, you'll be 50 this year. I'll be 50 next year. I'm not there yet.
Not there yet. No, I always
but I just say to my husband, like, we'll throw a big party for my 50th. So
that's what I want to do. If COVID cooperates, we'll see.
I know. Yeah. Oh God.
I know. So one of the things I want to talk to you a little bit about too is like how we've talked about how this is like a lonely solo job that you're doing your own thing. How do you stay motivated? What keeps you going, and what kind of inspires you to get up every morning and post at 10 a.m. or whatever it is you've got on your calendar? Like, how are you still going with this creative job that turns into a job at some point?
Yes. I don't know. Besides coffee, I don't know. I don't know how much longer I can do it. Like, I feel like it's definitely, I would never quit. I won't quit for a very long time, but I do find that, like, last week I didn't post one day. I'm trying to get to a point where I might not post every day. I'm struggling with that. And I've said it to my husband, I'm not going to post every day. And then it comes 7:30 or 8 comes along and I'm like, oh, I haven't put up a post yet. And he's, remember, you weren't going to, or like, we had Holden's birthday party on Saturday night and I just like lost track of time. And I didn't put up a post on Saturday, which I panicked a little bit, but nothing bad happened.
Right. So the world didn't end.
The world didn't end and the blog didn't end and everything was fine. So I need to get to a place where I feel a little bit better doing that, because I don't want to be just putting up stuff for the sake of putting up stuff.
Yes.
I want to make sure that I have something to say, whether it's entertaining or interesting or heartfelt. Like, there has to be a reason that I'm putting up a post. Right. So
rather than just,
sadly, there's almost always something.
I think that's the thing. I think there can be something if you make it. But yeah, no, a few years ago, I stopped posting every day because I was just like, I can't do this. Like, it was stressing me out more than like a job. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, I just want to write books. The whole social media thing, like, I enjoy it, but I don't like to have it on a schedule or anything like that. And I'm like, I'll come back to it in a week, maybe, if I want. They'll be there. They won't be there. I don't know. I'm like, I just want to write books. That's all I want to do now. So it's hard. And podcast. Now I want a podcast because everybody had a mommy blog in 2011. So now, what is it? 2021. We all have podcasts now.
Right. Unfortunately, I think like I was ready to not just to post a little bit less and be more just doing my own thing, making cakes and playing tennis.
Yeah.
But the book was coming out. And so like the book, I felt like I can't just ask people to buy a book. Like, I felt like I needed to give them the fun stuff that they're used to getting every day also. So I had that. Then, I don't know, I had no sponsorships at the beginning of the year, but then all of a sudden it's like all the budgets kicked back in and it's just been crazy. My plate has just been crazy full lately. So again, I'm not going to just post sponsored stuff all the time and not post the fun stuff that people like. So it's just the money keeps me going. So it's not a
You're like, I got a
it's
contract.
not a bad gig.
I got to go sell some mops. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Hold
Right.
do the kitchen, please.
Like, because like I'm kind of like, how dare us for complaining? Like, we are our own boss. We get to stay at home every day and wear whatever we want to work and answer to anybody really, and have flexible lives for our children and for our families. And I just like, so I feel bad complaining about that, but I am getting tired of it.
And as I say, and that's all true, but also you also have panic attacks at 8:00 at night and go through your comment section, and you're up at 2:00 in the morning worrying about what tomorrow's content's going to be, or you're checking in at midnight on a potentially thread that's going to turn into a huge fight and you're going to have to ban some people. Like, to me, like, there's always work to be done kind of thing. And I think that it's not just creating this content, it's also like managing this whole social media platform and trying to like, and figure out what I'm going to do next. Like, what am I working? The other day, my husband was like, so what do you got? What are you doing next? And I was like, oh, bro, I got nothing. I don't even, like, I'm so cooked right now. I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm like, 5 projects like half started, and I'm like, any one of these could turn into something if I would actually just get the brain power and sit down and do it. And so we have that luxury, but then because we have that luxury, we can go make cakes and play tennis too, but not do our work.
Right. It's exactly right. That's a darn good life,
It is.
Like that you have time to do those things.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is good. It is a job, but it is a really flexible job. And I appreciate the flexibility that I get. And I love being creative. Like, I love making people laugh. And if they can laugh, then I'm happy. So you were talking about branded, like sponsored content that you do. So that's one of the other things I'm always really jealous of. I feel like so many times when people do a sponsored post, they're just like, I love yogurt, #yogurt company. And you're just like, cool. And I think you do such creative, I think it is a true gift. I think I've decided now there are like 3 social media gifts. There's 3 gifts of people, of really talented, creative people that I don't have. One is to write really funny tweets. It's really hard to be witty and funny in that few of characters. Like, I need 1,000 words to tell you a funny story. Then I'm really
100%.
jealous of people who can create TikToks, because TikToks, I feel like, are so creative and so interesting and funny, and just, you can do anything. Like, there's things I never even thought about that you could do on TikTok. So I'm really envious of those people. And then I'm also really envious of people like you who can create really interesting, funny, engaging, sponsored content for a brand. How the hell do you do that? Is that because of your marketing background? What is that all about? How can you do that?
Well, maybe it's because of my marketing. I'm sure that helps. But really, some people are very lucky and they have like adorable little 3-year-olds and toddlers that they can put with a product, and then they just get a bazillion likes.
Yeah.
Like, my kids aren't that age anymore. Like, and I'm not a gorgeous model that you see on these millennials take these gorgeous pictures of themselves. That's not me. So I don't have that going for me. I always feel like somebody asked once, God, who was it? There was a comedian, and they asked, would you rather be like hilariously funny, or would you rather be drop dead gorgeous, like supermodel? And their answer was like supermodel, like it's drop dead gorgeous. And I was like, yeah, it's so easy. Like, you just take a picture of yourself with a product and there it is. I don't have that luxury. If I do that, the post is just not going to do very well.
Yeah.
So I feel like if someone's paying me, it's my job to try and make that post do well. And usually it works. Like, occasionally I have something that just doesn't quite click with the audience. But for the most part, if I put the effort in, it pays off in the end. So that's effort.
There's the word.
Yeah, it's effort.
Oh,
right?
effort. Got it. Got it.
Right.
Write that word down. Hold on. So go meet people, try new things, watch YouTube videos, and effort. God, these are difficult.
Yes, effort matters. So I feel like I need to do that. If someone's paying me, I owe them.
Yeah, because that makes sense. But and I think everybody does a good job with their content, but there's just a few out there that really shine. And I'm friends with all of them. It's interesting, but like you guys just really have a special talent. Like I always feel bad, like when brands come to me and I'm just like, bro, I got nothing. You tell me if you want me to put on a monkey suit and dance, I'll do it. But please tell me you're wearing your tiger pants today. Are you wearing your tiger pants?
I'm not.
For the No Pants podcast. Jeans. Oh, there they are.
Yeah, no, I'm wearing jeans. But today it got cool here today, so I put on jeans for the first time in I don't know how long.
Oh, pants that button. That's crazy. So I wanted to know, like, what is something? So I feel like, okay, you put your whole life out there. You've got your kids out there. You've got your cakes. You got your tennis. You got your writing. Like, you tell them what you think. You have your heart on your sleeve. Like, but what is something that you can tell me today that your fans don't know about you? What's your deepest, darkest secret?
Well,
Karen? No one's listening. It's okay.
I haven't told people on the blog yet. We're moving.
Like you're my next door neighbor. No.
That's like a real secret.
It's going to impact my life in some way. You're leaving the neighborhood?
Not really. We're moving a mile away from where we live right now.
Oh, that's so stretching out of your comfort zone. Good for you. Like maybe even a new school district. A mile
we're on
away.
The other side of the major street, so that's a big deal.
Oh, okay.
And not even that major. It's really only 2 lanes.
And why what because didn't you just like redid your kitchen or something?
You know, people say that, but we redid it 4 years ago. So it's not, so we've had it for 4 years. So it's been wonderful. We just I don't know. There were just some things we wanted to change about our house, and we were going to try and change them, and then we found out that probably wasn't what we should do, and so yeah. So we're
all right. Well, that'll be good. So that was my other question I was going to have for you too, is that, you know, like as our kids get older, as we kind of get out of the mommy sphere, like you kind of have to have a pivot. You kind of have to have a new way you're going to go. You're going to be a house person. You're going to tell us all about your house. And
house person.
Your house. Like, you know what I mean? Like I love those people actually. Like I love watching, like, you know, when they're picking out the paint colors in the wallpaper and they're like, are you going to do all that? Can we follow that?
Yeah, probably. Ask people's opinions and things like that, but
I mean, you can ask their opinions. You don't have to do it. Like
I don't. Yeah, well, that's true too. Although usually, I feel like if everyone says one thing, you probably should follow what they're saying. I don't know. Doing our kitchen was hard because I felt like I don't know. I don't want to be like bragging to people about what I'm doing.
Oh, yep.
So
I understand.
Like, we all have different things going on in our lives, and But on the other hand, like it's a part of my life, and I have a blog, and so I share my life and what it is. I think that with the kitchen, like when I revealed the kitchen, it was really interesting because for the whole time the kitchen was being done, I was like, how am I going to reveal this? How am I going to reveal this? And then I decided in the end, I actually was sad when my kitchen was built because I missed our old kitchen because it was filled with so many memories of the kids being so little in it. And that was the angle I ended up taking in the blog, and it was true. A good 6 months to embrace my new kitchen because I was sad that I missed the old one.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And I have a feeling the house is going to be that times a lot.
Say if the kitchen kicked your ass, that new house is going to be really hard.
It's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard to like this house. Zoe was less than one when we moved here. When Holden was born here, not literally born here. Not literally born here. I'm a drugs kind of gal.
In the living room.
Right. Didn't do C-sections at home. My sections at home. So. Yeah, so it's going to be really hard to leave. So it's going to be really hard. Not to mention all the crap we have to pack.
Not to mention all the crap we have to pack. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
I would just like to like get all new stuff. I start to get all new stuff. And start just reaching out. I would just be like, yeah, we're just going to, you can buy everything in the house. I just want my photos and like my computers and that's it. You can have everything.
It's funny. When I walk around now and I'm looking at it like that, I'm thinking if they wanted to keep that, they could. I feel like I'm going to put Post-it notes on everything. Do you want to keep it? Do you want to keep it?
Yeah, it works. It fits. The couch fits perfectly here.
Yes.
You might as well.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. So you're moving. All right. Well, that was a big secret. Thank you. I'm hoping someone's going to like admit to murder or something, but moving is good. Yeah. I like that.
I'm not going to tell those secrets on here. So.
Not yet.
No.
But see, now's the time to do it because no one listens to this podcast yet. So it's okay. Well, we are all done, and I'm so grateful that you did this, Karen. Where can everybody find you? Where can they follow you and read and see your pants? You have to find her tiger pants, you guys. You have to find the tiger pants pictures. But where can they find your cake videos and all your funny stuff that you do?
Sure. Thanks for having me so much. This was fun. You can find me Baby Sideburns. Everything is Baby Sideburns. So Facebook's Baby Sideburns, Instagram Baby Sideburns, babysideburns.com. I'm pretty consistent.
See, she had
in this at least, not in life, but in the blog I am.
Good advice. Always go out and get all your handles before you go viral, because
Right.
then you'll have it all for you.
Well, the hilarious thing is somebody actually had my email address. They had babysideburns@gmail.com. So
did you want to email them and be like, why? Like, how? Where
I did, but instead
from?
I just went with babysideburns2@gmail.com.
I'm Baby Sideburns too.
So that's what I am, and I've never changed.
Well, that's so funny because there's a woman. Her name is Jen Mann, and she's a really successful artist apparently.
Okay.
And she owns all the Jen Mann stuff, so yeah. So I get her mail a lot, like, which I'm not quite sure how I'm getting her mail, but they Google Jen Mann and they find me too, and they email us both probably. They'd be like, "I love your art," and I'm like, "Oh, thanks."
Maybe you'll get a check one day by mistake or something.
I would just love a painting. If she's listening, like, I love her art. Yeah. I would just love a painting. She does really beautiful stuff.
But then you'll hang it and it'll say Jen Mann on it, and then people will think that you hung your own art in your house. And
wow. But we knew she was crazy, but not that crazy. Thank you so much, Karen Alpert, for coming on No Pants Required podcast. I really appreciate you coming on. It was so much fun chatting with you. And please, everyone, follow Karen at babysideburns.com and pick up her book. Thanks, Karen.
So much.
Thanks for listening and subscribing to No Pants Required with Jen Mann. Don't forget to follow me on social media and subscribe to my newsletter at jenmannwrites.com. My newest book, Midlife Bites, Anyone Else Falling Apart, or Is It Just Me?, will be out in January, but it's available for pre-order everywhere books are sold.